5 things that create healthy citizens or a healthy society. 5 things that, your average citizen should be able to easily acquire to create a healthy type of system. Mainly because it's kind of like I'm trying to think of a system or a society where it doesn't radicalize people very easily, or people don't crash out. Like, why would there wouldn't be reason to like go into absolute chaos if you had these 5 things in order. And pretty much a big hint on it is a lot of it's based off of the nuclear family and what was done through the last in the 90s, in the 1950s, 60s, maybe 70s. That nuclear family structure kind of dictates these 5 things. And a lot of it was started off of a comment I got on one of my videos about, I believe it was my comments on basically working a standard 40-hour job and being able to support yourself and at least have some shelter. And one person, I believe, left a comment saying that a livable wage is just that. It's a livable wage. It's, you can't afford, it's not meant to afford other things. It's supposed to afford food and water in your mouth, and that's it. It keeps you alive. It's not exactly supposed to be luxurious. It's not exactly supposed to grant you further things. It's a livable wage, and that's the definition of it. And technically speaking, if we're speaking really harshly and speaking technically speaking, yes, that makes sense, and that's kind of true if you're breaking it down with the terms. But I don't believe, especially if you're working 40 hours a week, I don't believe that breeds a healthy society. I believe that breeds a lot of people who are like either depressed or willing to like crash out and go crazy and bring everything down with it. So on to those 5 things. The 5 things are pretty much, and I'll just go through them and I'll explain my reasonings for them. Home, shelter, job security, partner/belonging, children/future investment, and reasonable retirement/payoff. So, as you can see, those are like, they're quite pretty much really based off of the nuclear family or structure. But going into it, home and shelter, pretty straightforward. It's hard. It's not that hard to explain why someone would want that. Home and shelter, like, you need a place with a lock on it. You need a place where you can store some of your stuff and your belongings, and you need a place where you can go to sleep and not feel like someone's going to, stab you in the night, or you're going to wake up with someone in your house. Obviously, you want a place that you can call your own and feel safe. Shelter. It's like what is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs or something like that. That's like the first one to fully go for. Job security. This one's a standard pretty much. It's like we don't really have that much anymore, or if it's out there, it's really hard to get now. Because obviously that's the income, that's the money that's going to be able to support your bills and everything like that. And if you're always under fear that the fact that can be taken away from you and you can lose that and lose your benefits, lose your ability to pay bills, and have to wait so long before you would have to get the next opportunity, it's that's one thing that can really scare an individual to not progressing further into the next parts of life, which is the next steps on this list. Going in a little bit further, and this one doesn't exactly require money, but it does help out monetarily if you're trying to live on your own. A partner and bonding. Partner and belonging. Obviously, starting your own family or starting something or having someone there, we're social creatures. We gotta have this, that shelter, something that you do, and then a partner that help accompany you on this life that you're going through. And also it can help financially if you're working and she's working, or vice versa. If one of you loses your job, that helps out with the security aspect. You can still be able to support your the way of living, but not exactly now anymore, because it's like it takes 2 people to at least survive on. Now if you lose one of those, then it's just like, okay, then you might have to move back in with your parents in a sense. But technically, obviously, that's one thing. That's definitely one thing that leads up to the next step, and that's children. A lot of people are wondering, like, oh, why are we not having children? Why are they not having certain children and stuff like that? It's because a lot of the other things, the housing, them finding a partner, them having job security, those three things are pretty much fundamental. They're like fundamental, obviously. I mean, to having a children, you got to have those things down pat before you can ever even think about bringing in a vulnerable child into the world. Having those first three on the list are pretty much essential. And some people, I know some people are not definitely into having the aspect of having children. I know some people in my life who are not having children at all, and they go more for the idea of mentorship. You know, they find someone who is already of age to teach them the ways of the world and help them push forward. You know, and I think that's, whether you're having a children or not, you have some kind of investment in the future. You care a little bit more about what's going to happen, if that makes sense. You care about the aspects of whether your child and their generation is going to survive going forward, or the person you're mentoring is going to become successful and have their own life. And you feel like that's something it's worth me investing that time in that person to give them a future that you think that they deserve to have. And the last one, reasonable retirement / payoff. And I mean reasonable retirement. This is reasonable I'm speaking here. Just simple old, like, okay, if you do your finances right, if you saved right, and you've been really good and not spending your money like a crazy person, you should be able to, during your later years, live comfortably without having to worry about certain things, as in, like, okay, once the, God forbid, the inevitable sicknesses come, you can be able to afford those things, or you're able to have certain security nets that will take care of that aspect. And then maybe you can go and vacation a little bit more and go visit some countries during your final years. It's like, that's the payoff. You get to see some stuff. You get a fulfilling life. Even though some people would say, like, travel while you're young. And I wouldn't say don't travel while you're young, but, if you play your cards right, a healthy society would guarantee, or at least give you an easy chance to reach retirement. A lot of people are getting to the doom area where there's just like, I'm not even going to have a retirement and I'm going to be working for the rest of my life, and that's like a scary thing in a sense. And I know someone's probably going to say, like, well, life is like that. It's like, it's supposed to be cruel and stuff. And I think we've evolved further. I think we've pushed further from the aspect of just having like a standard, like, oh, it's just a living wage. I think we've pushed past that aspect into having more of a modernized society that allows you to do things that makes life happier. Life is full of suffering. Life does suck, but there are ways to obfuscate the suffering and make it better. And I think that those 5 things, going back over it one more time: home, shelter, job security, partner belonging, children / future investment, and reasonable retirement / payoff, breeds a healthy society, breeds a society where people want to wake up in the morning and even do their crappy job. I didn't put job fulfillment on there because I don't think not everyone's going to be fulfilled in their job, and the huge thing about this is that I would love for the average citizen to be able to afford these things, to be able to live these things in their life. And there was a time that we had that I want to look more into, and now obviously we don't have it anymore, but there was a time when that actually existed. And with these 5 things, that helps people have more, obviously, if people are happy, if your average citizen is happy, everyone else is happy. We're all connected. Like if you think about the aspect of like, oh, women are suffering or men are suffering, it's like, if one of us are suffering, we're all suffering. It's not good. Everything is connected. It's all a spider web. Independence is a lie, right? So I wanted to list those things down and add on to that aspect of just because something is like a livable wage, I don't think breeds a healthy society. I think it makes a society very unhealthy, and it pushes it more to chaos, into a very bad form of chaos and suffering, compared to a little bit of order. And I understand, like, I'm going to make a video on this next soon about like how chaos is a little bit just like, hey, you have to accept it. But there's some things we can do to obfuscate the suffering and push it away. And these 5 things, I think, for at least the average citizen, average citizen in the world, if you have a society that's you're able to achieve these 5 things, you've got something beautiful, and you best protect it as much as possible. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know what you think about the livable wage comment, and let me know your guys' thoughts on if you have a different set of 5 things that the average citizen should be able to acquire in their life going forward. Anyways, that's my thoughts, and thank you for watching again. Cheers! Woo!